Today, through testimony, I'm going to describe how Jesus transforms you or liberates you from repeated behaviors or life patterns that aren't healthy for you. It could be an addiction or anything like that, just a bad habit, right? So I'm going to explain how it works when you bring that to Jesus versus trying to discipline yourself out of that kind of behavior. So today I was looking, on my algorithm, I was watching shorts or reels, and it was testimony after testimony of people atheists that had been converted or people that had been liberated, from these bad habits or whatever. And I noticed the way they smile, there's a light behind that smile and how their lips curl just a little extra in that smile when they're speaking about Jesus. There's just something there's a joy that you don't see in people that have achieved whatever they're trying to achieve. So they've remained sober, let's say, or whatever. But when you compare the two side by side, the one that maintains sobriety on their own looks like it's a war. like you know what I mean? Like they've been fighting to do this. Like there's a struggle and you can feel it in them. When you're looking at somebody who's been liberated by a bad habit, it doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol. It can be gluttony even. It could be all sorts of things. When you look at someone who's been liberated from that, it seems effortless. And that's not to say they don't have days that are difficult. And there might be some value even in the struggle, in the sense that, for example, when you're doing something that you don't want to do, you're actually building neurons in your brain. So it is good for you to, push yourself a little bit. But there's something about doing it under the walk of Jesus where, the yoke is light, right? The burden is light. He promises us that. And it's definitely there. And I also saw a video, ironically, in the middle of all that, of a protest. There's a lot of division going on in the world, right? So it was a recent protest that happened in a place of worship. And one of the people that had interrupted the worship service looked at everybody in the room and said, "I could see that all of your lives are easy." And he was obviously very upset about that. But I looked around the room and it's like, kind of. And in a way, he's right. And I don't mean that we're privileged people. I mean that I notice that when I'm in times of my life, when I'm walking with the Lord, when things are going bad, and, I'll say to myself sometimes, I should be more upset. Like I should be really anxious right now. Or I'm wondering, I should be a normal person would be angry. And instead, let's say I have compassion and understanding for the person that hurt me, and therefore it doesn't feel personal, and therefore I can forgive instantly, right? Like, so you're a little less unburdened. When something bad is happening, you figure there's a reason it's happening. If God's letting it happen, some good will come out of it because God can fix anything. That really changes how you experience a negative moment. Not to mention, when you use your free will to allow for holy intercession, that's game-changing too. Because so many people, and there's this belief often among atheists or agnostics that resent the idea of giving a credit to a entity, let's say, that may be interceding on your behalf, or the Holy Spirit or Jesus, however you want to view that. Because it's like, well, you're saying that I'm not the one who made my company succeed, let's say, or I didn't achieve this on my own. As if that diminishes your role, even you just attempting to try something great is the compliment. The fact that you were wise enough is no different than saying, if you started a business and suddenly someone who got rich in that business offered their mentorship to you, you wouldn't decline it, right? Or saying, I have some connections, I can open some doors for you. You'd be stupid to say no because you wanted to do it on your own, right? So why not allow God to be that mentor? Why not allow Jesus into that space? And many have a resistance there because it's like you have to do it on your own, and you really don't. You really don't. And it changes the game when you allow intercession. So let me give you an example that is so, you know, non-dramatic that they could pertain to just about anybody, okay? Because it wasn't even like a major addiction. But you remember during the height of what we went through several years ago, where the whole world was put on ice for a while, like we were all frozen still. In the early days of that, I never really got time off at all in any of the days of that, because I was a business owner and we had multiple businesses that we were juggling between my husband and I. And, we're trying to keep some alive. We're trying to keep them all alive at first, but then one was just dying. There was no saving it. So that was a really rough time. And again, we couldn't leave the house. So you know how at the end of the day, you might have a glass of wine? Well, that started becoming a daily thing. And then I noticed it was COVID pores. And after all of the stuff, life went back to somewhat normal, the COVID pour, wasn't getting a lot smaller, let's say. And not that I was struggling, I wasn't getting drunk. It was usually, had before dinner, and then as soon as dinner comes, I switch to water and that's it. So it was never a problem. However, unnecessary, a lot of empty calories, and I'm obese. So if I could save a calorie somewhere, I need to, okay? But I found that I really love wine. Like, I love wine. So I didn't just want to have 4 ounces, twice a week. Like, you know what I mean? That felt really depressing to me. So I took it to prayer and said, I really enjoy wine. I really do. And I don't like the zero stuff. So I just wish I didn't like it. I wish I didn't crave it at the end of the day. Like, I wish I just didn't think about it. And I gave that to Jesus that way. And it's not that I pleaded, it's hurting my life, or there was nothing like that. And I didn't even ask for the discipline. All I said was, I wish I didn't like it so much. And I wish I didn't, think about it at the end of the day. That's all I said. But watch what you wish for. Because then, and I mean, this is where God can use all of the things. He used my incoming menopause. So then what would happen is I would have wine, and every time I would have wine, I'd have hot flashes and not feel the best. And I never really connected the two. And then one day I was with my stepmom, and she said, or she was, not drinking as much wine. And she said to me, I came to realize I don't feel good after drinking it. I just have to accept I'm older now. I don't have a young body anymore. And if it doesn't feel good, why am I drinking it just because I always did? And that kind of stuck with me. And I guess I just started paying attention. And then somebody else in my family had stopped drinking wine. Again, not that it was problematic, but they found their sleep was getting better. So I thought, So I started watching, how do I actually feel when I'm drinking this wine? And realized that every time I drank, because there were some times we'd either run out or whatever that I didn't drink. And when I didn't drink, I didn't struggle. So it's not that I was addicted where I was missing it or struggling or anything like that. But I noticed I felt better. And then the next day, when my dear husband, who always usually makes sure there's wine in the fridge for me, that was like his thing, his love language thing, always making sure there was wine in the fridge for me. And I would drink it and not feel great and instantly get hot flashes to the point that it was uncomfortable. So then it just took the joy out of it. And then I noticed that the mouth feel wasn't good anymore, and I didn't like the taste of it. It didn't matter how nice the wine was that I was drinking. It didn't taste good to me anymore. So, I still now it's the opposite. It's like, okay, Jesus, I wanted to cut down, but I'd still like to enjoy a glass and it not make me sick, on a Friday night or when we go to a nice restaurant. But alas, I think Jesus decided that, no, you don't need it, period. And so now it is rare. It is rare that I drink a glass of wine. I've asked my husband to stop buying it because There's no point. I don't drink it. So it's become rare that I drink at all, anything anymore. And when I do, if I do, it's like socially, let's say, or if we go to a nice restaurant, but it's very little and it's just not the same anymore. I do it for nostalgia more than anything, just to have a few sips, but not like it used to be at all. It is rare that I drink any alcohol. And ironically, most of my life I've struggled with drinking water, that I don't drink enough of it. And now it's all I want. And when I drink water, it tastes like the most beautiful thing in the world. Like, it tastes good. It's so refreshing. I love the way it feels going down, and anything else is a poor substitute, which is the strangest transformation. Let me tell you, I was so bad with drinking water. In my 20s, I once got clinical hypnosis to try to help me drink more. That's how problematic my dehydration was. And now here I am at 51, and water is all I want to drink. And I can't even stand pretty much anymore the taste of wine. And that's what happened when I brought it to Jesus. And it wasn't even an addiction. So it's not even anything, major. It was just that those are a few calories I really could have saved. And God did that for me. So honestly, you can bring anything to prayer. And that includes your business, right? That includes your work. It includes your financial situation. All of the things God can fix. And anyway, just wanted you to know that. Be blessed. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Have a great day.